Well, hello, hello. We're back again for another Wet Ink Wednesday, and I am joined for the first time in a couple of years by Mike Mumah, an artist, artist in residence at his house in Michigan.
That's right.
Welcome back to this little thing that I do, this interview show.
Thanks.
It's
Good
been
to be here.
yeah. I mean, we did talk. We have met other artists who draw cats, but like basically when it came down to doing OMG Cats, which is the follow-up to Heckin Good Doggos, we're like, we got to get the same artist back, and that's you. So here you are doing cat art, as you have desired to do for since you were working on Doggos. I think you
Yeah, I'm
made it.
pretty sure we started talking about it when I was doing Douglas. We have to do Heckin Good Cat or Evil Cats or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And right, I mean the workshopping of the name is something that happened. I don't even know if you know this. I've told lots of people this, but you might be entertained by this. So when we first got the poster of Heckin' Good Doggos, and it has all those the standing banner that we use at conventions. So the
Mhm.
first year we had that, Brandon like rolled it up, the to set it up, and those dogs that cover the book, all those dogs running at the camera, at the point of view, people stopped setting up their booths over across the aisle and immediately came over to like find out what this Heckin' Good Doggos thing was about. And
Oh, that's awesome.
that poster has had that effect on people. And people will walk past and they'll like do kind of a double take and they'll like see the sign and then they'll point at the sign and say, "Oh, Heckin' Good Doggos." And so as like a promotional opportunity, right, we always shout back like, "Yeah, Heckin' Good Doggos." And like 20% of the time people will actually stop and like come and look. But that like interaction of like them saying Heckin' Good Doggos and us hearing it and then us shouting it back to them is like a thing that we did. So we had to, this is how this gets back to cats. Like we had to workshop a name that we could do the same thing with for cats. So we called it, we had pretty kitties as a sometime, and like kittes, like with multiple T's, and like none of those are like pronounceable in that same sort of interaction. So we did talk to some congoers about like, but what if it was a cat game and it was called OMG Cats? Would you shout that at the con floor? And they'd be like, yes. So that's how it ended up being called OMG Cats. But yeah, Heckin' Evil Kitty, Heckin' Evil Cattos or something like that was like an original version of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, Matthias, our graphic designer,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good designer, when I showed the sketch, he paid me the best compliment I've ever
Ah,
been paid. When I did the sketch, he said, "I can smell this."
oh yes, the cat, all the cats on the
All the
porch.
cats. I'm like, going, I nailed it.
Yeah, you've got kind of a, I mean, and this really comes out in a lot of your, I think in the art this time for cats, like it's hard to describe. There is sort of a like, there's a certain vibe to a lot of your art where it is sort of like, it's, I don't know. What I'm thinking of is like European comics and how European comics are just so irreverent. They do not care about your feelings so often, and you have just a little hint of that in your work. It's like a comedy, but it's also like a nod to reality, and it's also sort of cartoonish. Like everything becomes there's so often you have a, in the very artistic, you make grotesques of things. I think there's something to your art style that is all of that.
Well, you know I love dogs. I've had dogs all my life.
Uh-huh.
However, more frequently, almost perpetually, I've had cats.
Uh-huh.
Like my first pet was a cat, and my parents hate cats. I love cats. You know, like I had it all the way. Like I have one now, which is pretty basically my personality. Like she loves attention, but like when people come over, I like go, don't pet her. Let her pet herself with your hand. Basically, like she's got my friendliness, but at the same time standoffishness. I'm like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
keep it over there. But yeah, I just love their personality for that exact reason because they're so goofy and like every cat I've had are completely different. And yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I think it translated into my art and into this perfect storm, and I was having so much fun. Like I had no struggle whatsoever coming up with compositions for any of the pieces I did for this piece.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
the cover was probably the toughest. It's mostly like when I want to put in a lot of cats, I just need to like fit them in somewhere.
yeah. More, the more cats, the better.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
I'm still
yeah.
not sure if I put in enough.
I mean, it probably could have had more, but like, it's a lot of cats. It's a lot of cats. Um,
I think there were
uh,
like 50 on the cover.
yeah, we're doing. You get to draw some more cats too here because the we haven't. There's a couple more pieces to be yet commissioned, waiting for some details from the writing team, and then we got the cards. We're doing the cards again, so you'll have "This is my cat. Please immortalize them with a piece of art." So
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
you'll get to do all that as well coming up.
Yeah,
I mean, just for, I don't know, historical time stamping purposes or whatever, the Kickstarter has been going for about a week. So we're right in the middle of it still. So it's a couple weeks left to go. We're on
uh,
track to fund. It'll be pretty. We're not too worried about that.
it's like at 80% right now, right?
Yeah. I did actually check before this recording so I could have, as of time of recording, we're at 80%, which is pretty good for 1 week, and we're happy with that. So
Yeah,
we looking to get you know, I mean, this video is like part of the promotion, right? We'll be
right, right.
putting this out and like, this is the video that will be part of the promotion of the crowdfunding campaign. Uh, I don't know. I mean, since we're talking about cats, like there's a bunch of other questions that I wanted, like catch up questions I wanted to have with you, but
Sure.
we're talking about cats now, so maybe we should just talk about cats, or should we want to come back to cats at the end? I don't know which way you want to.
Hey, you're conducting. You drive.
Uh, so I do want to ask about like your uh you are ever restless as an artist, I think. You're always trying new things, you're always doing stuff. And so the you used sort of a different I don't even know what it is that you actually did, right? Just is a different coloring style or different like brush work or something like that. You were going for a very not exactly watercolor, but like not exactly your sort of what I think of as your standard sort of like comic book hard line color block style with a lot of the cats on the cover
Yeah.
is in particular, and some of the interior as well. You've got more of a delicate touch with some of those whiskers and fur fringes and stuff like that. So, like, is that did that? I want to ask as an artist, like, is that just something that I want to do something new. I haven't done that before. Let me try it. Or is it fit to the purpose, or where does that come from?
Well, it's just been an evolution. Like I've
Mm,
been working more and more, like I've been working on digitally for the past 20 years. Like I used to draw in Photoshop on a Wacom tablet, which is just like a flat tablet, and I'm looking at the screen while I'm drawing down here. But then I had graduated up to when we did Doggos, I was drawing on my iPad. Like I did all the art for Doggos on my iPad using an Apple Pencil and using Procreate, which is a program I absolutely love, but I also haven't used it because after we did Doggos, I bought a Cintiq tablet, which I absolutely love. And I draw everything in it now. And then I also don't draw in Photoshop anymore. I'm using Clip Studio. And so I've just been playing with different things and I have more um, I don't know, room to maneuver as far as
mm,
space and the layers I can use and because you're limited on the iPad and stuff like that. But like over here, I'm getting more painterly as we go, even though I
yeah.
still in my cartoonist roots. And and I've been doing covers the past year or two. And so it's been kind of graduating for there. I did like two covers that I did for cats, the main cover, and then also the weird what was that, the
Curious
train
Yarns is what we called it.
series heroes. Yeah. Yeah, I did them a little bit, like I did a lot more blending, a lot more watercolor. I didn't use a watercolor tool, mind you. Though I am doing that on a project, different project now. But like, yeah, I'm always experimenting on something new. So yeah, it's just like I want to learn it all and do it all, but I also don't just practice on so I just have to do it on something I get paid for. Like
Sure, not a lot of personal work
yeah,
opportunities, I guess.
yeah. Never
Uh,
have time for that.
yeah. Um, well, it's neat. I mean, I think especially on the Curious Yarns covers, which is I maybe I'll say this now in the video and we'll see if I actually do it, like putting up the cover on the actual video, but like it is. Or you can go to the crowdfunding page at search OMG Cats on Kickstarter. You'll find it. But the Curious Yarns one is this uh really great. It's like one of those classic like I mean we're gonna use art terms here. It's like it doesn't exactly have chiaroscuro, but it's like very dark in the background and there's aliens and they're emerging and they've got like a ray gun that's shining on the ground and so the cats are like looking at the dot the infamous red dot that appears that menaces
Yeah, yeah.
cats. But it's aliens with a laser beam in the background. It's really great. It's really great. Very evocative, very on theme. UFO in the sky. It looks great. It's a great piece of art. I think you really did something great with that one.
Well, I can't remember what your exact instructor, or like what your exact request on that was, but I immediately focused on like just a laser pointer.
Hmm.
I thought that would be funny. And
Yeah.
then like I also grew up with the weird science fiction and horror comics and like weird tales and like
Hmm.
eerie and stuff like that. So you'd see covers like that and like you just also Outer Limits or the Twilight Zone. Like it's like I wanted to evoke all that stuff, but I also grew up with Looney Tunes.
I
And
mean, yeah. This
yeah,
is what I
like
was saying before, like the cartoonish and the grotesque, and
yeah, yeah.
you put them
Well,
together.
I think we talked about that when we did Doggos. We might have talked about it when we did Wild Skies, when
Hmm.
we the previous time. But like like there's nothing that I do that is not informed by Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. I mean put that on the cover. That's a good
Yeah,
that's a good one line quote for your art. Um, no, I think my request was like I think what I actually said, and this is you going like I think the cover looks great for Curious Yarns. I think it's great. I think what my actual request was like you did sci-fi for Doggo's bonus book, so do something fantasy for Cat's bonus book, and
oh,
then
that's right.
what you did instead was like you did like this like you said the aliens and so it's like it's fine because then the two books are supposed to resonate together, and so they both have this sort of both moment. It's like a UFO invasion with these purple flying saucers, and they're on the Doggos book. They're just filling the sky. The dogs are looking up at the flying saucers,
Yeah.
and in this one, the aliens are on the ground. So it's like a progression of the story. These could be happening at the same alien invasion, you know?
I think when I read it, like I totally skipped over the fantasy thing, and it said like we did on the other one. I'm like, going, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
UFOs on that one. Let's do that.
I mean, this is again totally fine. I have it was not this is not one that I felt very strongly about. Sometimes I will fight with you or other writers or with you already mentioned Matthias. I'm like I know exactly what I want it to be, and this isn't it yet. Please keep working. And other times it's like this is an idea. And if you come up with your own, that's also fine. So this is definitely one of those where it's like, oh, that's great. I have no problems with this. It is literally the
Also,
opposite.
I also want to sing Matthias's praise
Uh,
for him. Because like I was doing the cover, I'm like going, yeah, I want the like one cat dangling off the cover, and then
yeah, you,
you were debating like I wanted the cover the title to be the same on all of them. Like sure, but like we can have a cat dangling off of this one. Like going, I can draw it separately, and then like Matthias was like, oh, yeah, I can do that.
yeah, yeah,
And then like what he did was just amazing. You know, the
yeah,
the two titles between Heckin Good Doggos and OMG Cats, they're great parallels. And then you have the cat dangling off it, and then also I had suggested something the same for the or the Curious Yarns cover, and then he went
Hmm.
above and like beyond what I expected. Like going, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's like I mean this is not like it's not like rocket science in terms of like the layers. It's layers, right?
yeah,
You draw on separate layers and then the title gets inserted between the layers and stuff like that. So like the title can appear in front of most of the art on the cover of OMG Cats, but then like it's still the cat appears to be floating relative to the art because it's hanging off the title, which is
yeah,
appearing in front of the art. It's it's not that complicated, but Matthias's eye is really good, and the on the Curious Yarns one, there's like a the UFO appears sort of in between the letters, as if the title itself of OMG Cats
mhm,
is separated in space, and the UFO is in there between them. Yeah, he's very good at that. That is what he's got such a great eye for is layering in those elements. Yeah, it's pretty great.
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, since we're talking about cats, is there any other piece that you've of the ones you've drawn so far that you particularly liked to work on that you want to talk about?
Um, well, the junkyard one is
Hmm.
probably my favorite one, and like, yeah, like normally I have some sort of disdain for any one of my pieces. That is not one of them. Like that one,
Hmm.
yeah, I love that one. So
The colors are particularly rich. It's a night. I mean, again, I maybe I'll put it up on the screen. I should, I
yeah.
guess, since we're
Well,
talking about it.
you said it right off the bat. Like the colors are amazing. And they're going, yeah,
Yeah.
but what's drawing? But no, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, like all of it came together, and like, and it's not like I had it's kind of like piece it together as I go. Though I'll have it all kind of roughed out, but then all of a sudden, all this other stuff will pop up, and yeah, as I fill out the detail, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have a thing here and I'll have a thing here, but then also it's a junkyard, so I'm gonna have to like rust it up a bit, and it's just kind of a fun thing.
Yeah, I like the density. A lot of your pieces have a lot of little details in the either the textures or like things happening in the background. You're very good at like filling the frame with stuff to look at.
Yeah, if people are gonna look at it, I want them to look at it.
Yeah. Um, all right. I mean, this is great. I mean, the work is ongoing. Like I said, you've got some more stuff to finish, but that's not on you. That's on us to get you those
Totally.
further commissions. Um, but yeah, it's been a great project. It's been and obviously as we move on to the next stages with layout and finishing up the book and stuff like that, it's great to have I look forward to having doggos and cats on the table together at conventions in the sometime this year, It'll be
I've
good.
never I've never really drawn cats, and so I was having a blast doing it. Like as much as saying I've had cats, like I very rarely have drawn cats. I've drawn dogs a lot, especially since dog. I was like going, oh, you can
Mm,
let me draw my dog. I'm like, oh, fine.
yeah. Well, I never thought about that as like it's a that's a big not a big, but like it's part of your portfolio now. Is that like, hey, I drew all these dogs. Like, look, and
Yeah.
then people love drawings of their pets, for sure.
People started throwing cats at me for reference. I'm like going, all right, I'm just gonna take like the Curious Yarns. Like I think I threw my son's cats, and then my cousin and one of my best friends. I threw her cat in, and I'm like, come on, all right, you're done, you're done. Stop throwing me photos.
Too many cats. Never enough cats. Uh, well, speaking of cats and reference and stuff like that, it's on my list to ask you about your art director and like, uh, which is your cat.
Yeah,
And you called your cat your art director,
yeah,
and Pepe, right?
yeah.
Pepe's your cat.
She has
And
a stone stripe down her back, and
mm,
yeah, her personality very skunk-like.
very skunk-like. Well, so. you talked about drawing on the tablet, so like I have my question is basically like when you're drawing, I mean, most of the times when I've seen like you post a picture of like, oh, here's my art director criticizing my art, it's Pepe like laid out on your like you've got like a pencil in your hand and she's laid out on your like piece of paper, that
Yeah.
you're working on. Classic cat move. If it lays there, I'm gonna sit on it. Um, but how does that translate to like the tablet stuff? Is it the same impulse, or does she try to get on the tablet? Does she try, or do you have to like what'd you say, or let her pet you with your own hand
Well, that's other
afterwards to
like
make
other
up
people.
for?
She'll let me pet, like no matter what. Like she'll be like hissing or something like that with other people, and I'll just grab her skull and she's like, "Fine, okay." Like, I understand. But like when I did doggos, she was doing whatever she could to distract me. Like, what you're drawing dogs? What are you doing drawing dogs? I don't get it. Dogs. And then with cats, you're like, now you got it. Like she's being much more friendly. She's like actually leading with her headbutt, you do the headbutt and like, pet me.
Mm,
Hey. But also she can't really lie on my Cintiq tablet because like
right.
my iPad would have to lie flat. Well, my Cintiq tablet, which is right here to the right, which you can't really see, it sits vertically. And yeah, she can either climb in front of it or like sit behind it and just stare at me over the back. Like whatever. But like she comes up to me weirdly purring, and I don't trust it.
So she finds her ways to still judge your art,
Yeah,
despite not laying on your actual piece of paper.
yeah. But she seemed much more pleased with my work with OMG Cats.
Mm. Uh, all right. I love to hear that. Thanks for the cat update.
No
Uh,
problem.
so I mean, we put all the cat content up front. So like, but you do and have done other things since you draw cats. So
Yeah.
that's not the only thing you do. So I want to ask about some of the other things that have happened in the last, kind of an update with the last time we had you on for an interview. Um, and one of those is I want to ask an updated question that I've started asking people this year. Because I asked you like your origins with games and stuff like that before, but like the specific thing that I'm curious that I've been asking people this year is like, what is the first game that you like remember where it was like a not like a I have a ball and I'm going to bounce it on the ground. It's like this is a product that is a thing that I can buy and it contains rules and is a game, whether that was a board game or a video game. I don't know. What was your first game that you knew as like, oh, this is a thing that like people make these games. They're like discrete units.
Well, when I was very, very, very young, and I want to say like 8 or 9. My parents just knew me as like I have a weird kid. He's kind of nerdy and shy and draws a lot and likes science and fantasy or whatever. And so I ended up with at way too young Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual. And a lot of my And so like it just had this thing, and so I'd like draw dragons, draw a basilisk or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a book I flipped over. However, it was probably when I was 12 or 13. When I lived in a trailer park, and one of my neighbors started running Shadowrun
Okay.
edition, and that was my very first video game, which is oddly the I can't remember what edition, maybe fourth edition, fifth edition, not entirely sure. That's the first RPG I drew professionally.
Mm.
I
The
did
same.
that. It was probably the same year I started working for Palladium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The I mean that's great. I love that like the answer to that is like I don't know, it was the art book. It was the book that has all the pictures of monsters in it completely that you can't I mean you could do something, but you can't like play Dungeons and Dragons with just the monster manual. But like that's the first one that you had. And so you all you could do was draw the monsters. I
Yeah.
that makes so much
But
sense.
see, as like an artist and like, I didn't know like and an only child. I'm like going, you play games with other people? Who does that?
Yeah. I mean, and some of those, is that, do you know? I mean, I'm half remembering here, but some of those illustrations, I don't know if the Monster Manual, the original Monster Manual is part of that, but like some of those illustrations were like just teenagers that like the TSR guys knew that they were like, oh yeah, you're at the church drawing monsters. Why don't you sell why don't you have one of your sketches in our book? You know, like some of those artists were really young that their work is in some of that early D&D stuff. I don't know if
Well, I don't know about first edition
hmm,
because this was second edition. Um, I do remember some of the art being kind of crude, but it was still like very competent, ink drawing, black and white and stuff like that. So I just dug it. And
yeah,
like being really, really young, I didn't really distinguish artists from one another. Like
yeah,
it's in the book. And then like it was later when I started getting my more sophisticated taste for it and stuff like that.
yeah.
And
The
my kid is spoiled for that kind of stuff. Like, and he won't even let me teach him anything. Like
I
going,
think
hey,
I think that's just being a parent. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like my whole and like he's a great artist. And he's 16. Um, but like I've never wanted to, and I did this on purpose. I never wanted to force it on him. Like when we're gonna do our lessons, like I just wanted him to like enjoy it,
yeah.
you know, kind of like how I did, and like my plan kind of worked, except that now I'm excluded from actually teaching him anything, like drawing with them. However, I get to buy him nice sketchbooks.
Well, I remember you did, I mean, obviously this is years ago when your son was much younger, but you used to do like scribble art or something like
Oh
that. Like
yeah,
he would draw a scribble and then you would make it into something else, you know. I remember you used to do that together.
oh yeah, yeah. So like I'll give him a pen, like a ballpoint pen, and say you got 3 seconds, draw a scribble, and like one, two, three, done. And even though that was probably what a second and a half. And yeah, and so like I take that scribble and I got to make something. Actually need to do that more. I love doing that.
So what is the I know you just said that you're trying not to like push your son in any particular direction, but like is it like do you see like the sort of like I don't know, like not opportunity, but like is there like you like I don't know, like is there like a career opportunities or like enter a contest or like encouragement from that direction where it's like is he just drawn to just to draw for the fun of it or is there sort of like a you've been a professional artist for a very long time and so like you know kind of quote unquote what it takes and then like is there a like a you're kind of trying to lay some road for him so that he could go that way if he wants to or you're totally hands off. I don't know.
I'm largely hands off, but like he'd be sitting there watching me draw. Like he's in diapers still, and like he
Hmm.
was watching me draw zombies. And
Yeah, that was
like
back in the peak zombie era.
yeah, yeah, and like and I work from home, so like he just sees me drawing all the time.
Yeah.
And then he draws, and like I just I wanted to lead by example, I guess.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I didn't ever want him to see it as a chore, even though it's hard work. He
sure.
once asked me when he was eight. When he was eight, he goes, he goes, "How long does it take from where I am to get
Mm,
where you are?" And I didn't want to tell him, "Well, you see how old I am?
yeah.
That's how long it takes."
Yeah.
And then I just said, "It just takes a long time, buddy."
Yeah.
That's it. Like I didn't want to discourage him at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just like very careful about that kind
But
of stuff.
but that's like I don't know. I'm sure you've seen the like just what comes to mind is like a quote that I know like apparently Hokusai, the famous, you know, Japanese printmaker, he said something about like like age 92 or something like that. He was like, perhaps if I live just a little bit longer, I'll finally be able to like understand how to draw leaves or something like
Yeah,
that, you
yeah,
know. And that's sort of like, like, is there somebody who's made more iconic art than that guy, and yet,
yeah.
he was still learning or felt he had more to learn, So how long does it take to get to where you are? Like it takes however long you've been at it, and then but it's not a destination, right?
Yeah, I also didn't want to tell him like going, the secret is never be satisfied with your work.
Mm.
And also like the one like when people ask me things like that, I try to bring up um oh, it's a goofy Tom Cruise movie. The Last Samurai.
Mm.
Um, which has got some, it's got some
I mean,
shaky. Yeah.
you cut out all the Tom Cruise, just keep all the Ken Watanabe stuff. That's the
Yeah.
best part of that
Like
movie.
it's Ken Watanabe. He's talking about like looking for a perfect blossom. He'll never
Hmm.
find it, but won't think it would be a waste of time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so
The two scenes about the cherry blossoms are the best part of that movie. The rest of it is fine.
yeah, it's okay.
Aggressively fine.
However, it's that line you're like going, yeah, that's it right there. But like, yeah, I just want him to enjoy the work.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And so like he's working on a comic book, which you won't tell me more than it's a comic book. Like going, I can't wait to read it. Like on, and like I would like to have the same artistic relationship that Joe Kubert had with Adam Kubert.
Mm.
And like going, can we work on stuff yet? When you make my stuff, that kind of thing. I would love to do that, but it hasn't happened yet. But we'll get there.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but that'd be great. You get your little art desk going, and you could do like you did, like Eastman and Laird did it, where they're like just panning the drawings back and forth across the table, and each kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
iterating on them or whatever.
yeah.
Um, uh, well, thank you for sharing so much about like that's like slightly more personal than we usually get because you're talking about your
Hey,
son and your relationship as a father. So I really appreciate that from you, Mike.
thanks.
Um, The other thing that I wanted to ask you about that I know you've been up to is you. We used to be in the same game group on Monday night, and then I have gone on to other things. But you and Brandon and a number of people are still in that same game group. And I mean, we played together for like 10 years, 12 years. I don't know. It was a very long time.
Think it's
And
since about like 2010.
yeah, it was a really long time.
Yeah,
And you it was always the joke that like you're like, hey, I want to play this game, and we would always be like, well, then you run it then. You run
yeah.
it. And you're like, I don't want to run it. And then for like a decade. And then you did it. You actually ran a game. Right?
Well, we kept running into this thing where like whoever was running it couldn't run it, or like some game was canceled because whatever, just over and over and over again. I was
Mm.
getting tired of it. So I'm like going, I am going to run a game. I'm going to hate every second of it, and I did. I'm not a particular fan of running. I
Mm.
really am not. However, I am still running. Not that particular thing. I only ran for a little while. Um, because I think I had locked them into a jail. And like every day that they'd have to go and do another thing in like this arena. I can't exactly remember what it was, but it was like some sort of other escapade. But then at night, they have to work out how to break out of this prison.
Mm. Okay, so you're doing like the Great Escape kind of
Yeah, I
situation.
wanted to do the Great Escape, and like I had like the entire time the dun, 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 every time they start getting close, I think at one point they had put a broom, like yeah, they keister stashed a fork. They had put a broom in the outhouse, like in the actual toilet. So I go, this is kind of gross. And then finally they broke out. I'm like, going, fine, good. Someone else run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
finally
what game were you playing? What
D&D. It was D&D.
D&D? D&D.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, but then I had long told my son, yeah. like years ago. I'm like going because I wanted him to get into that. I've encouraged him on D&D or like role playing in general more than I have in drawing. And I said, hey, if you ever wanted me to run something for you and your friends, I will. And then he called me on it. He was like, okay, let's go.
So another D&D game for them,
Yeah, for him and a bunch of wacky 16-year-olds.
right? I mean, that's I remember when I was that age and I was playing games and we were all 16. We were all teenagers playing the including the game master. So like uh I, I don't know if it's better or worse to have like an adult in the room in that kind of situation.
Well, for a while it was me and one of the other dads.
Mm,
Like on, and he was kind of a rookie player himself, which is absolutely fine. Like more the merrier.
yeah.
Like all these kids, this is his first time doing anything. I'm like going, all right. And then my kid, like he had a character everyone liked, and his character died, and then he brought in another character. And then he also made the worst character introduction ever, which made everyone in the group hate him because he wanted to kill his previous character, but he was already dead. And so like his new character just continued to be an asshole. And like so, and like it was like hilarious, but at the same time like going, dude, why didn't they kill you right off the bat? You want to run with these guys.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That I guess that's better than like murder hoboing, I guess. Like to sort of self-murder hobo.
Oh, there's that going on too, because they're
Okay.
16 years old. But
Right.
of course, we're in our 40s, and we do that a lot too.
It is a very popular way to play.
It's a long and honored tradition.
Right, right. I do wonder, like I was gonna ask you like about the kind of the tone of the group or whatever. Like, I mean, 16-year-old young men doing, off the chain stuff. They all got superpowers. Like, what do they do? Or they're portraying superpowers. Their superpower is their imagination, right? But they're
Yeah,
playing characters who have, swords and can go into rages and can run 150 meters in a single action or whatever. Um, all that kind of stuff. I was curious if like the kids, basically, are the kids all right? That's kind of what I'm asking.
yeah.
Like, you,
The kids are all right. My own kid, he's more active in the 16-year-old group because he also plays with the rest of us 40-year-olds on Monday nights. Now, and though he's a little bit quiet on that one, but I think that might be more because he's sleepy because we play late in the evening on a week school night, you
yeah.
know. And plus there's a lot of us in that group, so
I,
you
I
know.
just the people who I know play games for kids, like I have friends that like do library clubs, and I have friends that do like after school gaming at like their schools and stuff like that. They're teachers and they're there and they're playing with games, and like there's just such a like yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, we did like, oh, we're gonna go get the biggest guns and fire them into the NPC armies and splice up all of the like, robot parts for change and buy you know, take a random roll on the weird drinks table you can buy at the shady
Yeah,
bar and like, like very it's the sort of power fantasy stuff that is very common. Like we were just talking about, a time-honored tradition. All the way back to like writing the Aeneid about how great the founder of Rome was.
right,
Um,
right.
uh,
I remember when I used to like when I first started out, I would like write these elaborate backgrounds and like research everything. Now I barely read the books. It's like, "Yep, here's a character. We're gonna do this. Let's find we'll find the personality on the way we go." But like as far as running my own kid, like especially all these skits, like the first several months that we're playing, they would start doing things where like I would have to like put on my DM hat and like on, you want to do what? Okay, and then I kind of rehash the entire like this is the scenario. You want to do this. You expect it to go well? But like now I'm like going, all right, you want to do it? Let's go.
But I'll set a difficulty check and we'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so I don't know. I guess what I was leading up to asking is like, like my jokey sort of a kid, are the kids all right? Like the stereotypical thing that I get is like, and maybe this is what you were referencing, right? Like people want to set up like they want to set up like sandwich stands and they want to like free the kobolds from oppression and they want to do like make sure their friends are okay and like there's sort of like a or they want to open a nightclub. Like there's these things that are like the sort of like like not saving the world, not fighting the dragons, also not like, doing the murder hobo thing. Like it is
yeah,
just sort of like there is that element I think in a lot of younger players that, or at least I hear about it. So I was
yeah.
curious if you get any of that from like playing with 16-year
I
olds
would
or
love it if they would actually do that. I mean, we're running through a packaged campaign right now.
okay.
Um, However, so like everything's kind of on rails. Um, but like if they did that, I would actually make it hilarious. Like I would just absolutely have fun with that. Like on, you need to make 1,000 cupcakes for a party of kobolds.
Yeah.
To be done in 30 minutes. Go.
Yeah.
Who
All
knows how to cook?
it's all wisdom and dex checks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And
Whereas, and like Brandon is running, Brandon, your co-owner at
yeah,
Wemmick,
yeah.
he's running the current campaign in our Monday night group. And so like Alex gets frustrated because there's a lot of role playing and
Mm,
not enough action a lot of
okay.
times. So there is a lot of that too. And so like you have to figure out puzzles and you have to worry about things and like I'm like going, yeah, you just have to engage, man. Just have to engage. That's it. You have your character, you know the personality, just run with it.
Mm.
Then the most active he got was when we were actually facing an ancient dragon. And the rest of us are like going, we're not touching that ancient dragon. We're not attacking that. And he wanted to attack the dragon. And we're going, you might as well just go over here and let the dragon cook him.
He's not with us. He's not with us.
Yeah, exactly. So like, learn your lesson, man.
I mean, sometimes you gotta have a character get eaten by a dragon
Yeah.
to learn as a player what that's like.
Oh yeah.
Um, oh man. Uh, all right. Uh, well, like I said at the beginning, I think before we started recording, like I didn't really have an agenda. I'm looking at my list here. I think I've asked most of the things that I wanted to catch up with you about. Anything else that you've got going on your end? Like you've done shows in the past, you've had you've illustrated books, like anything what's been up with you professionally that's other people might want to check out.
I got one thing I really can't talk about.
Fair. That's good. Good. I mean,
Well, yeah, I have an Australian comic which I don't really know a lot about.
all right.
Coming out eventually. Um, yeah, like one of my other artist buddies is like he's asking me a bunch of questions like, oh, I don't know, man. I'm just a gun for hire. I do not know. Like I didn't write this thing, but yeah, he's known me to do my own creative work and stuff like that. I got my own comic, which may or may not see the light of day, depending on if I ever have time. Which I'm also writing as a novel, which again requires me to actually do the work.
Right, right.
Yeah, even though I have like half of it written, but I'm actually rewriting stuff now.
That's a classic. That's a classic way to never finish a novel is to rewrite it halfway through. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Gotta kill this section, but we gotta puff out this one.
yeah, it's tough. It's almost I used to do the National Novel Writing Month thing, and it's
The nano Wimo or
yeah, yeah, it's often called NaNoWriMo. But the editing is hard. Like you go back, okay, so you write it in November and then you don't look at it for a couple of months, and then like long about April or something like that of the next year, you're like, Was that actually good? Let me go back and work on it. And you're like, you read it and you're like, oh, this could be so much better if I were to make all of these changes. And then like you embark on making changes, and that's like It's harder. It's harder than writing the first draft, for sure. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of work.
Well, yeah, my first like I originally started writing when I was in high school. However, when I got into college, I started working at a newspaper, which will immediately cure you of any idea of writer's block. It's like going, yeah, you either have a writer's block or the book newspaper comes out. Like it's going to come out either way. So you're going to be in it or you're going to be not. So you start not caring about what's going on with it. And that's why I tell people with they say they have writer's block. I'm like going, well, either you write something else or just write words. Don't worry about the quality, just write words.
Right. You can't edit a blank page
Yeah, exactly.
is the phrase that I like to use. I don't think I invented it. I think I heard it from someone, but I don't remember who. But yeah,
And then
you gotta.
I was teaching somebody
Oh
with
yeah.
yeah. Which again, I'm not really teaching anybody because I don't think I'm very good at it. It's like all I'll say is like on the best tool you'll have is an eraser. And like if you don't fill up your basket full of paper, you're not drawing right. Like, yeah, you see that one piece like going, oh, I love that one piece. Yeah, but that like reams of paper,
Mm. Yeah, you
like an
gotta.
entire forest died to make that one piece.
I mean, I think it's the same with writing. Like you write a lot of words that nobody sees, you know? I
Exactly.
mean, that's talking about writing, I feel like I'm not a very clean writer. Like I have to write about 150% of what I need to and then I'm like, okay, this is too long. Cut it down. And then it
Yeah.
gets refined down to like just say what you need to say. I guess I need
It's
to
like you start off with a pencil, and then you with that editing you sharpen it. Now you have a stub.
hmm, yeah,
That's the publishable stuff.
right. If I I guess if it's like you just spend more time thinking about it, I guess, and then you can just get down to what you need to say and just write it once, but you still have to think about it. So it's like I don't know. Is it better that way or worse? I don't know.
I love rewriting.
Hmm.
Because like the first draft you're getting out the ideas. However, the rewriting is when the art starts happening, and then
Yeah, I like that as a thing. Because it's there's work. I mean, it's work at every stage. It's work at every stage. But I like that the idea that like that's when it's like the phrase that we always say is the ideas are easy. I was sending an email and I stopped and I deleted it and then I put that in a little note about for myself. Like that's too good of an idea just to send an email to somebody. I need to put that in my folder so I could use that idea some other time. But ideas are easy. But like you said, the art it really happens in the make in the editing. Like that is.
yeah, you
I mean,
figure
the
out
art
how to
happens at every stage, but it
yeah.
I
It's
think
like
it really.
you have the story. You want
Hmm.
to, you want to tell a good story. Like, oh yeah, well, it's fine. Like what you have is fine. However, you have those phrases when you want it to like really sparkle. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
you got the idea of a joke right here. You want the joke to really pop, so you like start narrowing down the words.
Yeah.
Like a stand-up comedian, like on, they have to go on and like tell it 100 times until they get it refined.
Yeah.
And then they can go do their special.
Yeah. I think I don't think we talk about that enough as creators that the 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 edit is the real work. Like I think that is yeah, there's something really powerful there that I mean, you get to the point where you get to the point where you've eliminated all of that and master artist or whatever, and the first brush stroke is perfect, right? And maybe you can get there, with a short story or a poet can get to that point or whatever. But I think, like you said, you got to practice a lot and throw it, whether you throw it away physically or you just, delete it or whatever. That wasn't good enough, and I'm going to do it again. That's that's so much of the work,
Yeah.
and in any creative thing, yeah.
It's so important for creatives to, like, don't look at your work as precious, man. Learn how to burn
Hmm.
it. Like learn how to tear it down. Learn how to erase. Like,
Yeah.
no, no, this isn't good enough. Crumple, throw it away, and then, start again. They go
Right.
on, if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. You're gonna have to go and like face an editor you don't really know and are good buddies with. They want something else, or you're going up against a client like, yeah, I have an idea in my head, I'm just not seeing it yet.
Hmm.
It also
Well,
don't know what to tell you.
right. I mean, that's a whole other line about, I think we maybe talked about this before, like trying to meet the, I've certainly talked about it with other people, like trying to meet the expectation of someone else, right? Like your own expectation is hard enough to meet, but then like try to meet the expectation of somebody who's like commissioned the work or who you have to report to, like an editor or something like that. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Uh,
Yeah.
well, we got off a little sidetrack there. I don't know that, it's great. It's great. I think these are, I like to have these conversations, and this one has been a little bit more unstructured and talking about just kind of living life and that's the artist life. You're living you're living the dream, right? Uh,
Living the dream. Yeah. Everything I've ever wanted apparently happens in this 10-foot square radius.
well, I really appreciate your time today, talking us through your process and sharing about what you've been up to the last couple of years. Where's the best places for people to either commission you to draw some cats now that that's part of your portfolio, or check out some of the other work that you've done, or shout out a
Um,
book that you're in recently. What do you got that people can find you online?
you can find me on the Kickstarter for OMG Cats,
Ah, yeah,
currently going on right now.
currently
Uh,
going on right now.
you can find me either at The Art of Mike Mumah on Facebook or on Mikey Danger Mumah on Facebook. I'm also Mumah on Instagram. I'm all over the place. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on, uh, I get it. What is the
The
Twitter for Facebook?
Oh, Threads.
Threads. Thank you.
The
Threads.
Twitter for Facebook.
The
That's
Twitter for
it's
Facebook. You can
that's
also
the
find me on Discord, but I usually just do that to chat with particular friends.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put some of those in the description of this video. Certainly a link to OMG Cats. That will be at the time of this. I mean, it ends at about the second half of April is when it ends. So if you're watching this before then, you can still back it. Or, a year from now, maybe it'll still be on, hopefully not on pre-order, still a year from now. Hopefully we'll get it out there this calendar year. But if you're watching this in, May or something like that, you can probably jump on the pre-order page, because we usually will convert the Kickstarter to a pre-order. And at in due time, that happens. That's part of the process. Thanks again, Mike, for talking to me. Thank you for watching the video, everybody, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Bye.